Hello everyone, welcome. I am Isha and today we will talk about email writing. Mainly, we will learn about writing a business email and the basic difference between email and business email. So in this session, there will be an introduction to email writing. Then we will talk about the main difference between formal and informal email writing. We will learn some tips on writing a business email. And at the end, we'll go through some phrases to be used in the business email. So let's start with the introduction. Email is the most common form of written communication in the business world. You can write a professional email for a variety of reasons. For example, you might need to recap an important meeting, you need to exchange some information, relay an important update, or maybe send a letter of introduction. In fact, emails make up the core of any business's communication and marketing strategies. This makes it important for the businesses to make sure they communicate the right messages and accurately convey their intended tone, whether formal or informal. There is a difference between writing an email and writing a business email. It is of utmost importance that one understands the difference and effectiveness of using professional words and phrases which constitute an essence of business emails. Business email is not only written to a client, it could be for a colleague or for a marketing campaign. Let's talk about the main differences between formal and informal email writing. No slangs. When writing a formal email correspondence, only use standard English terms and most importantly, keep in mind that you're not texting a friend. Instead, you're writing an email to someone you're in business with. Words like you all, TTYS, TTYL are a big straight no. Completely avoid slang terms in formal writing. Use of contractions should be avoided. Be aware that in formal or business writing, the use of contractions such as won't, can't, don't, shouldn't, haven't should be avoided. These expressions should be written in their complete form like will not, cannot, do not, should not, have not, and many more such examples. Use of passive voice instead of active voice. Formal writing often uses shortened, less detailed or obtuse sentences, also known as passive voice. Informal writing makes use of the active voice or a more direct sentence. For example, let's say if Ria's appointment has been confirmed, so instead of writing, Ria received a confirmation email saying that her appointment has been confirmed for Friday, you can write Ria's appointment has been confirmed for Friday, short and crisp, which is in passive voice and sounds more professional and formal. Avoid grammatical errors. You should also be aware of common grammatical errors so you can avoid them. For example, the difference between there, and they are, or the difference between it is and its. There are many such examples you need to take care of, like there, or you are and your. Use of formal tone. When sending a business letter, a formal tone of voice is most often used because it conveys a professional demeanor. This is opposed to email marketing where an informal tone is preferred by marketers. The informal tone of marketing email tends to be friendlier and more effective in generating a positive response. Which takes us to our next point. Be thoughtful. Even though a marketing email is informal, this does not mean you should stop paying attention to grammar and the respectful manner you should use when speaking with a prospective client. This is still a business correspondence after all, and you should be thoughtful about what you say about your agency and how you say it. Moving on to tips on writing a business email. Know your audience. In all business writing, the audience is the top consideration. Who you are writing for will determine how you write your email. The reader will determine the tone, formality, and the content of the communication. Your email's reader may be your colleague, client, or supervisor. each reader will have a different background, project knowledge, and priorities. You can use project acronyms with a colleague who has the same deep project knowledge as you do. Those same acronyms will be confusing to an executive who needs an update for budget forecasting. With your audience at the forefront, you will always write a more effective email. The audience includes all the people included in the sender field. This includes the to, CC, and BCC fields. Writing for the audience also means using these fields correctly. Many times, what creates the confusion and delays the reply is who actually has to reply to that email. The to field is for the direct audience who needs to reply or take action from the email content. The CC field is for the readers who need to receive the email conversation for reference or clarity but do not need to take any action or reply. The BCC field is for the audience who only needs to see the initial email and none of the later chain of replies. We should also keep this in mind. The person for whom you're sending the email and whom you are expecting a reply from is supposed to be in the to field. Know the purpose. An email must have a purpose and it must have only one purpose. This email practice is called the one thing rule. Each email should cover only one specific item, task, or request. Covering multiple actions in one email can cause confusion and inefficiency. One email should not include both client report revision notes and a scheduling question for the quarterly meeting. This scenario calls for two separate emails. By limiting emails to one thing, the email is easier for the recipient to understand, process, and act upon. This clarity increases understanding and productivity. In practice, we sometimes have to ask for several pieces of information related to the same topic. In this case, use a numbered list to clarify for your reader that the request has components. This will help your reader respond easily and ensure you receive all the specifics you need. Keep it concise. Your audience might have little time to read through your email, so make it as brief as possible without leaving out key information. Try not to address too many subjects at once, as this can make your message lengthy, challenging to read, and difficult to take action on. When editing your email, take out any information that's irrelevant to the topic you're addressing. Use short, simple sentences by removing filler words and extra information. This will make your notes shorter and easier to read. Subject line says a lot. No doubt, a subject line is the first thing a recipient reads. The decision of whether or not to open an email depends highly on how the subject line looks. Make sure the subject line is simple, specific, but catchy. Use keywords that briefly summarize the content of your message. Modify subject lines during long email threads. Start your email with greetings. Formal emails should begin with a salutation, such as "Dear," to whom it may concern if it's a letter, or "Hi" with a name as opposed to a "Hey" or "Hello" with name. Say "Thank you." If a person has replied to your email, you should thank him or her by writing "Thank you for your reply" or "Thank you for your prompt reply." It is important to start an email on a positive note, as it creates a good first impression of you. Informal versus formal. Your manner of speaking depends on who you are talking to. It usually comes naturally and is based on your relationship with the reader. It applies to email as well. Here are some examples demonstrating different ways to write the same thing. Like in informal way, you can say "Can you?" But in a formal email, you should always say "I was wondering if you could." Another example is, in an informal way, you can write "Sorry, I can't meet you, I am busy that day." But in a formal way, it is "I am afraid I will not be available to make it that day." Don't avoid the negative. Delivering bad news is never easy, but it's something you have to do sometimes when working in a business environment. A good way to do it is to provide a reader with neutral or positive information first. Only then move to the negative part, explaining what caused it and why it's important. The final part of the message should provide a potential solution to the problem or an optimistic note. Your goal here is not to hide or minimize the scope of the problem, but to leave the reader with the impression that you care or you're taking action to fix it. Especially in cases where you will not be able to match the set deadlines, you must let client know the reason of delay, and more importantly, you must focus on the solution you're providing the client with. End the email with a closing. As you have already constructed your email beautifully, it requires a beautiful closing too. An appropriate closing is polite and signals that the email has come to an end. Also, it is considered a best practice to provide a closing to your email. There are many ways to do so, and again, it depends on the formality and relationships between you and the reader. We will talk about some best examples ahead. Sign your name. Make sure to include your contact information, your first and last name, email address, and the phone number so that the person can easily follow up with you. Proofread your email. The last and perhaps most significant step is to proofread your entire email. If you skip the editing, you can instantly undo all your hard work. Spelling errors can undermine your intelligence and make you seem careless, and obviously you don't want that. Everyone makes spelling and grammar mistakes, so take the extra 30 seconds to double check your work and correct any errors, because it can make a big difference. And the last one here is using all caps make you appear to be yelling at your clients, and it's as simple as this. Never use all caps. Now let's go through some phrases which you can use while writing a business email. Starting your email with opening greetings is a must. Few examples on how you can start are: Dear Sir, Dear Madam, which is very formal. Dear with a name. Hello with a name. Hi with a name. Hi team if you're writing to the whole team. Hi Mr. Hi Miss with the last name. Good morning with a name. Good afternoon with a name. Being social. By adding these at the beginning of your emails, you will sound more friendly and social. You can use, I hope you had a good weekend. I hope you had a great trip. Hope you had a nice break. I hope you're well. I hope all is well. Hope you're enjoying your holiday. I hope this email finds you well. I hope you enjoyed the event. I am glad we had a chance to chat at the convention. It was great to see you on Thursday. It was a pleasure to meet you yesterday. So here are a few examples you can use if you're emailing first. I'm writing to you about our last meeting, your presentation yesterday, our next event, depending upon what happened last. I'm writing to you with regards to, regarding, concerning, in connection with. I'm writing to ask, inquire, let you know, confirm, check, invite you to update you on, ask you for a favor. I'm writing to you to follow up on. I am contacting you to inform. I am reaching out because. This is just a quick note too. This is just a quick reminder. I wanted to let you know that. Might I take a moment of your time too, which sounds very formal. It's your name from your company's name. This email is just to let you know that. If you're replying to someone else's email, these are the things you can write. I just got your request for. I just read your last email about. As we discussed, I would like to send you. Thank you for your email about. Thanks for your email this morning, yesterday, on Wednesday, last month. Thanks for your feedback on your invitation, your suggestion. Thanks for sending, asking about, attending. Thanks for your quick reply. Thanks for getting back to me so quickly. Thank you for reaching out to me. If you have to apologize on email, these are the good starters. Sorry for my late reply. Sorry it took me so long to get back to you. I apologize for the late response. Sorry it's been so long since my last email. I was sorry to hear about. Please accept our apologies for any inconvenience caused. Now coming to closing lines. When something is expected from the reader, you can mention, looking forward to hearing from you soon. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Please let me know if this works, if you're available, if that sounds good, if you can help, if you need to reschedule. I look forward to seeing or meeting you. See you on Thursday or next week. Thanks. Thank you in advance. Thank you for everything. Cheers. Any feedback you can give me on this would be highly much appreciated. If you could have it ready by tomorrow, the end of the week, I would really appreciate it. I would appreciate your help in this matter. If you're offering help or information, you can use the lines such as, I hope you find this helpful. I hope it's clear now. I hope that answers all your questions. If we can be of any further assistance, please let us know. Let me know if you need any help. For further details, if you have any more questions about. In the meantime, if you need more information or further information, I know that's a lot to take in, so let me know if anything I have said doesn't make sense. Please do not hesitate to contact me. Please feel free to contact me to get in touch. Please let me know. Drop me an email, drop me a line. At the end, here are some friendly ways to say bye to put an end to your email. Best regards, all the best, best wishes, cheers, have a great weekend, have a wonderful day. Thank you. If you have any queries, drop an email to us, obviously using what we have learned today, and we will get back to you.